Hello, this is Othman, and today we're going to walk through how to create an IK rig and IK retargeter in a proper way for Riff XR game. So first of all, let's create the IK rig. So right click and go to animation, then go to retargeting, then select the IK rig and name it avatar, IK avatar. Okay, and now let's save it. Now right click again, go to animation, then go to retargeting, select IK retargeter and name it uh, avatar retargeter. Okay, and save it. So now let's do the step one. Let's make our IK rig. So let's open this by double click on it. It will open the IK rig editor. Now we can select a skeleton mesh on this IK rig. So click on the drop down and seek for your mesh. This is my mesh here. Select it. Now you can see that the character is visible in this place. Now the IK rig is mainly needs you to create an IK chain for each body part, so it can be mapped to our IK chains and the animations can be transformed correctly. To create a chain, we need to start by creating a root chain. So here, right click in the center. Since my character here has a duplicated root, this is the first one and this is the second one. We need I'm using the second one, which is the firstborn in the hierarchy. So you need to select the firstborn. Usually it will be the first one. So in my case, I'm selecting this one because I know my character has a duplicated root bone. So right click in your root and select add new retargeting chain and rename it to root and add a chain. Now go to your pelvis or your hip bone and right click and add a new retargeting chain. This one should be named as pelvis. And also we at this time we're not adding the chain, but we will add a chain and a goal. So by pressing add a chain and a goal, it will promote us to add a default solver. So I'm going to select the full body IK solver. So add the solver. Okay. Now we added the solver in the for the pelvis. Now it's asking us. It says it's a missing root. So we will right click on the hip bone and set root bone on selected solver. Also, after adding the root to the solver, we need to add a retargeting root. So we will right click on the hips again, and now we will set as a retarget root. Now we are okay. So the full body solver, actually we will use it for two things, for the pelvis and for the head. So for now, I'm going to search for my head bone and add the head chain. Yeah, this is the head and this is the neck. So usually, or the recommended thing is to have 3 bones per chain. So this chain has 2 bones. This will cause issues with the head rotation. So the UE5 has 2 neck bones and 1 head bone. So they are 3 and they are working fine. So since we have 1 neck and 1 head bone, we will use the last spine bone as our second bone. So we'll go to the chest and go to now select the neck and then select the head. This way we have 3 bones and we can right click on them and add a retargeting chain. It will be the head chain and we also going to add a goal on it. And since we are selecting the full body IK, it will associate the head goal to the IK solver, to the full body IK solver. So add a goal and chain. Now save it. Now we have a hand and a hand and a leg and a leg. We are going to add a limb solver to each one of those. So I'm going to add a solver, going to be a limb IK. This one should be the left arm. I'm going to add a new IK, a new limb solver. This will be the second hand. I'm going to add another limb solver, which is going to be the left leg. And I'm going to add another solver, limb solver, which is going to be the right leg. So let's start associating them one by one. So selecting the left, the solver that I want to use with the left arm. And after selecting this goal or this solver, now I can scroll really to find my arm, my left arm, which start from here, left arm, left elbow, and left wrist. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a new retargeting chain, which is going to be left arm. So I'm going to click add chain and go. Now it says missing root. So the root for the limb IK solver is the bone that is a 3 bone away from the goal. So this is the goal. This is the first one. This is the second bone. This is the third bone. So this one I'm going to add. Right click and set root bone on selected solver. If you mistakenly selected this one and set it as a root, it will say it requires at least 3 bones between the root and the goal. So you have to put it here. Set root bone. So now the left limb is okay. Now select the right limb and scroll down right to find your arm, right arm. So select the right arm, the right elbow, the right wrist. And in your case, it might be upper arm, lower arm, and hand. So now right click and add a new retargeting chain, and then it should be called right arm and add chain and goal. Now this is okay. It says missing root, so we're going to the third bone from the goal, which is this one, as you can see, 1, 2, 3. So right click and set a root on a selected solver. Make sure you never use the wrong solver while are you doing these things because it will associate the wrong goals to the wrong solver. So now we are going to the solver for the left leg. So I'm going to scroll down and find my left leg. Okay, left leg, left knee, and left ankle. While I'm selecting the goal for that, I'm going to right click and add a chain and also selecting the add chain and a goal. And it says missing root, so we can actually right click on the third bone, 1, 2, 3. Right click on this one and set root on selected solver. So now we're going to the last limb IK, which is for the left, for the right leg. I'm going to select right leg, right knee, and right ankle. And I'm going to right click. I'm going to retargeting chain and say add a chain and a goal. And now it says missing root, so you can right click on the third bone and set root on the selected solver. Now all solvers are set up, all goals are set up. Now we will go for the settings and for the desired result. So the first thing to know that if your hands are okay, if you move them, they will bend like this, then you are okay. The second thing is for the head. If you moved the head, we don't need any translation in the head. So if the head moves like that, that means the setup is there are some settings need to be changed. So let's work on this. So the first thing is selecting the full body, okay? And here you can see that it say the root behavior is pre-pull. You need to change this to be pin to input. Okay, then after doing that, you can go to the goal settings here for the head, and you can see there is something called pull chain alpha. This should be set to 0. Now go to your neck bone and right click and also add settings to selected bone. And in these settings, you need to add rotation stiffness to 1 and position stiffness to 1. And scroll back to the chest bone, and here we're going to add settings to the selected bone, and make sure while doing the add settings you need to make sure that you have the full body IK selected. So the full body IK bone settings, we will add stiffness 1, position stiffness and rotation stiffness to be 1 and 1. Do the same for the spine bone, add settings, and here select this one and add rotation stiffness position stiffness to be 1 and 1. So after finishing that, I remember we can see that the spine chain we didn't add it, so I will select the spine and the chest, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to add a new targeting chain. It's called spine. Just make sure you have this set up. Add chain. Okay. Since we have a new system for retargeting the fingers, we won't add chains for the fingers. But if you want, if you're confident that your rig has the same proportions for like the UE5 mannequin and the same base pose, and you know that retargeting the fingers the default way is okay, then you will add chains for your for the fingers and let the default system retarget them. But in our case, we are going to retarget the fingers in a new way, so you won't make chains for that. So make sure this one, now let's go to the settings and make sure that the spine settings are also have the stiffness 1 to 1. So now if everything is okay, if you move the head, it should not move the head. But if you rotate the head, it should rotate the head. If that happened to you, that means everything you did is correct and the IK rig is actually set up properly. Now close the IK avatar and open the avatar retargeter and then select a new source. The source is going to be the Riff XR UEFI FB. Select that. And now here I'm going to select my IK avatar, the one we made recently. So now we can offset the mesh to the side just to see it better, and we will fix all the warnings before we move forward. Now it says RK trying to retarget source bone chain with IK less than 2 joints. And this is actually our pelvis bone. It has only one bone, which is the pelvis. So now you can go to the chain mapping and search for your pelvis, which is this one. Click on that, and we will just click on this one, the IK, and tick it. And also the translation mode should be set to globally scaled. Then you can save it. Okay. Now everything is set up. Now we need to set some values. First of all, select the hands and go to the IK section, and the blend source is going to be set to 1, and we can see that, let me go here, you can see that the hands are not perfectly straight, so we need to rotate them. You can add a rotation offset here. Let's give this like here, let's give it like 20 degrees, and now it's straight. This is will help you in the game if you consider that your hands is actually rotating downwards. So since the bones here have opposite directions, we need to set this to negative 20, and it will be okay. So this is okay. Save it. Now we need to let's play some animation. Okay, after opening the animation, which is the idle animation, you can see that your elbow are pointing upwards. And if this happened to you, you only need to offset the pole vector. So how to do that? You will select the goal and go to here, the FK settings, and you will find two settings. The first one is called pole vector matching. So you will make this equals to 1. Then you will give your pole offset some angle. I'm going to offset it by 15 degrees. Now the elbow is looking in the correct way. So I'm doing the same for the right arm, which will have a pole vector matching to be 1, and the vector offset is going to be negative 50. Now the elbows are correct. And also now, after finishing the IK retargeter and the IK rig without without adding the chains for the fingers, because we will use the new retargeting system, we will start by creating a new animation blueprint, and that animation blueprint will actually contains the logic that helps to retarget the fingers. So go to your mesh folder, or the folder you place your mesh in, then right click in your mesh and go to create, then select animation blueprint. Name it post processing name PP or any name you would like, but it's a post processing animation blueprint, so it's convenient to name it post and create animation blueprint. Call this Ariana name PP, and let's open it. Okay, here I'm going to say post or input cause. Okay, and I'm going to search for Riff XR handler. I'm going to copy this node twice so we can actually have the left hand and the right hand, and do the same here, left hand and right hand. And I'm going to promote this to a variable called this right hand, and promote this to a variable called this left hand. Okay, but after promoting those two variables, now you can select this right hand node, and let's provide the fingers. Index R, index 2 R, index 3 R, middle 1 R, middle 2 R, middle 3 R, ring 1 R, ring 2 R, ring 3 R. Give it to pinky 1 R, and pinky 2 R, pinky 3 R. Let's go to thumb 1 R, thumb 2 R, and thumb 3 R. Let's compile and save. Now let's do the same for the left hand. Index left, index 2, index 3, then middle 1, middle 2, and middle 3. And let's provide the ring 1, ring 2, and ring 3. And let's go to pinky 1, pinky 2, pinky 3. Let's add the thumb 1, thumb 2, let's thumb 3, and compile and save. Let's go to our class settings, and let's scroll down to the interface area. Let's search for fingers, the snapshot version, compile, save. And here now go to implement the append hand info, which will just drag the right hand, put it right here, drag the left hand, put it right here. And we don't need to implement all of the functions, but we need a couple of them. So now I'm going to use my own bending rotations. So here I'm going to override this function and say I'm using the fingers down, my fingers down. So let's when I ever do this, so I'm going to my current get current hand poses and provide the right hand and the left hand, and compile and save. And after this, we will actually just override one function here, but to override it, we need to actually get the values. So the easiest way to get these values, I'm going to here and take this one and say make. Now we are making a hand definition here, and I'm going to make a finger definition. And now I'm going to just hook these up just to see the best value that I want. So if I looked into my mesh, let's go to the skeleton and let's select our index finger, which is this one. You can see that it rotates downward on the Z axis. So whatever what I want to do is to my Z, give it like negative 80 and negative 80 and negative 80. Okay, then compile. You can see that the fingers actually went down automatically, and this is good. Now let's go to the thumb. Let me just adjust my speed. Okay, for the thumb, I'm going to make another finger definition specifically for the thumb, and let's go to my skeleton and look at the thumb. So this is the thumb. I want my thumb to rotate in the Z axis by maybe 50. So let's give it in the Z like 50, and let's compile and see. Okay, it's in negative 50. Okay, negative 50. I think it's a bit too much. Negative 20. Yeah, this is good. Now the second joint of the fingers are going to rotate also on the Z, maybe negative 20. Yeah, no, negative 60, maybe. Negative 60, okay, 50. Yeah, and it seems okay. Let me hide the bounds from here, bound, select it only. So now what I want to see where is the finger is at. So I think we need to rotate the other one also in the X by maybe 10. Okay, no, negative 20. So yeah, now it's good. And now we want to give the last joint a rotation and the Z also. Let's give it like negative 50. Bam. Okay, now it looks like a fist. Now we can connect this value also here just to make sure it works in both hands. Sometimes the hands need a different. Yeah, it works. It works on both. Yeah, it works on both. So after knowing that it works in both, you can actually copy these these nodes, and go to provide fingers down and paste them here and pass them on the right and pass them on the left. Compile and save. Now let's go to our n graph and delete those. We don't need them. We just use them as a test. So connect the left in the left and the right in the right. And now we save this and everything is okay now. This is why the fingers are finished. Okay, after finishing our post-processing animation blueprint, we need to assign this animation blueprint as a post-processing animation blueprint for our skeletal mesh. So open your skeletal mesh by double click on the asset like that, and in the asset details, search for post processing and assign your animation blueprint here. Here, this is the default one that I assigned in the mod itself, but you will change it to maybe the one you made. So this is the one we made in the tutorial. So after assigning this here, you can save it and then package your mode, and everything will be fine.